I didn't kill my brother. But looking back at the wreckage of the last 5 years, maybe I should have. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. My road? It was paved with quarterly reports, sleepless nights, and a blind loyalty to a man who saw me as nothing more than a glorified insurance policy. In exactly 10 seconds, the security guard, a man named Jerry, whose daughter's tuition I paid for last semester, is going to ask me to hand over my badge. He won't look me in the eye, he will look at his shoes. Because he knows what is happening in that boardroom on the 40th floor isn't a firing. It is an execution. And the worst part? I walked right into the trap, smiling. My name is Mason, I am 32 years old. And up until this morning, I was the chief operating officer of Sterling Dynamics, a logistics empire worth $4 billion. I wasn't born a Sterling, I was acquired. That is how Victor Sterling, my adoptive father, liked to joke at galas. He adopted me when I was 7, right after my biological parents died working in one of his warehouses. Guilt? Maybe. Investment? Definitely. While Elias, Victor's biological son, was busy crashing Porsches in Ibiza and getting kicked out of boarding schools, I was here. I was the one studying market trends at age 12. I was the one fixing Victor's messes. I was the one who turned this company from a domestic trucking firm into a global supply chain giant. For 25 years, I played the role of the perfect son. The problem is, in the game of blood and money, perfect doesn't beat biological. It started on a Tuesday. The Tuesday. I walked into the boardroom expecting a celebration. We had just closed the Project Atlas deal, a government contract I spent 2 years negotiating. It was supposed to be my coronation. Victor had promised me the CEO seat once the ink was dry. But when I opened those double oak doors, there was no champagne, no applause, just silence. The kind of silence that feels heavy, like the air before a tornado touches down. Victor was sitting at the head of the table. He refused to look at me. Sitting to his right was Elias. Elias never came to meetings. He usually didn't wake up before noon. But there he was, wearing a suit that was a little too tight, tapping a manicured finger on a thick stack of documents. He looked up at me, and he smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a cat that just found a mouse with a broken leg. "Sit down, Mason," Victor said. His voice was flat, dead. "What's going on?" I asked, putting my briefcase down. "Is there a problem with the Atlas contract?" "The contract is fine," Elias chimed in. His voice was smooth, like oil on water. "The problem, dear brother, is where the deposit money went." Elias slid the stack of papers across the long mahogany table. It stopped perfectly in front of me. I opened the folder. My heart missed a beat. Bank transfers, dozens of them, moving a total of $12 million from the company's operational fund into a shell company in Panama, a shell company listed under my name. This is a joke," I laughed, but it was a nervous, hollow sound. "Dad, you know me. I built this fund. Why would I steal from my own war chest?" Victor finally looked at me. His eyes were cold. There was no love there, only calculation. "The IP address used to authorize the transfers matches your laptop, Mason. The timestamp matches the nights you stayed late." "Because I was working," I shouted, standing up. "I was fixing the mess Elias made in the European division." "Don't bring me into this," Elias said, feigning shock. He turned to Victor, his eyes wide with fake innocence. "See, Dad? I told you he's always been jealous. He thinks he owns this place just because he works hard. He thinks he's entitled." That word, entitled, coming from the mouth of a man who had never earned a single dollar in his life. I looked at Victor. "You believe this? After 25 years? Victor took a deep breath. "The board has voted, Mason. You are terminated, effective immediately. We are seizing your assets to cover the loss." "Seizing my assets?" I stepped forward. "You can't do that without a trial." "Oh, we're not going to court," Elias interrupted, leaning back in the leather chair, putting his feet up on the table. My table. "Dad is being generous. He's letting you walk away. If we go to the police, you go to federal prison for embezzlement. 10 years, minimum." I looked at them. The setup was perfect. Elias had hacked my credentials, probably when I passed out on the office couch last month, and planted the trail. But Victor knew. He had to know. I saw it in his eyes. He knew I was innocent, but he needed a scapegoat to cover the financial hole Elias had likely dug elsewhere, and choosing between the competent adopted son and the incompetent blood son, he chose blood. "Get out," Victor whispered. "If I walk out that door," I said, my voice trembling with a rage I had never felt before. I am never coming back, and when this company burns, and it will burn under him, do not call me. Elias laughed. Bye-bye, Mason. Don't forget your box. I'll tell you what happens when I walk out those doors in a second, and trust me, it gets much worse than just losing a job. But first, if you've ever felt the sting of betrayal, or if you just want to see how I make these people pay for every single tear they caused, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because this isn't just a story about falling, it's a story about the climb back up, and I want you there with me when I reach the top. The walk from the boardroom to the elevator felt like a mile. Every employee I passed, people I had hired, people I had mentored, turned away. But the email had already gone out. Mason Sterling, terminated for financial misconduct. They didn't see Mason anymore. They saw a thief. I got to the lobby. Jerry, the security guard, was there. Tears were in his eyes. I'm sorry, Mr. Mason, he whispered as he took my badge. It's okay, Jerry, I said, handing over the plastic card that had been my identity for a decade. Keep your head down. I walked out into the rain. I didn't have an umbrella. I didn't have a car. Company property seized. I took my phone out to call an Uber. Service suspended. My personal phone was on the corporate plan. Victor had cut it off before I even reached the lobby. I walked to the nearest ATM. I needed cash. I inserted my personal debit card. Declined. Account frozen. I stood there, rain soaking through my $3,000 suit, staring at the glowing red screen. They didn't just fire me. They didn't just humiliate me. They were systematically erasing me. I had no money, no phone, no car. And with the embezzlement rumor spreading, no career. But then something happened. A black sedan pulled up to the curb. The window rolled down. It wasn't Victor. It wasn't Elias. It was a woman I recognized. Elena, the head of legal for Sterling Dynamics. The woman who had drafted my termination papers an hour ago. Get in, she said. I have nothing to say to you, Elena, I spat. You need to get in, Mason, she said, her voice urgent. She looked around nervously. Because the police are on their way. What? Victor said he wouldn't press charges if I left? Victor lied, Elena said. Elias isn't just satisfied with firing you. He planted more evidence this morning. Evidence that links you to a domestic terrorism funding group. They aren't trying to fire you, Mason. They are trying to bury you in a hole so deep you will never see the sun again. I felt the blood drain from my face. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because, she unlocked the door, you are the only one who knows where the bodies are buried, and I need leverage. I heard sirens in the distance, getting louder. I looked at the coming police cars. I looked at the open door of Elena's car. If I stayed, I was an innocent man going to prison for life. If I got in, I was a fugitive. I made my choice. I jumped into the passenger seat. Drive, I said. As we sped away, watching the police surround the spot where I just stood, I realized one thing. Mason Sterling died on that sidewalk. And the man who just got in this car? Oh, he is going to burn Sterling Dynamics to the ground. The first rule of disappearance is simple. Ditch the phone. I rolled down the window and tossed my iPhone 14 into the East River. I watched it splash, a $2,000 piece of glass and metal that contained my entire life. My contacts, my emails, my memories. Gone. Beside me, Elena was driving like a professional getaway driver. Her knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Why? I asked, breaking the silence. Why risk your career for me, Elena? You are the head of legal. You just committed a felony aiding a fugitive. Elena didn't look at me. She kept her eyes on the rearview mirror. Because Elias found the Dubai file, she whispered. My blood ran cold. The Dubai file, a mistake Elena made 5 years ago. A clerical error that cost the company $2 million. I had fixed it quietly. I had buried it to save her job because she was a single mother. He threatened to expose it, I asked. Worse, Elena said, her voice shaking. He doctored it. He made it look like I took a bribe. He told me if I didn't help him frame you, he would send me to prison and put my son in foster care. I looked at her, a powerful lawyer reduced to a pawn. This was Elias's game. He didn't just defeat his enemies, he enslaved them. So why help me escape? I asked. If he finds out, because I know you, Mason. She finally looked at me. Elias is chaotic. He will burn the company down in a year, and when he does, he will throw me under the bus anyway. You are my only bet. You are the only one who can kill the monster. She pulled the car into a dark alleyway behind a rundown motel in Queens. This is it, she said. I can't go further. My car has a tracker. I have to go back and pretend I was carjacked. She reached into her purse and pulled out a burner phone and a thick envelope. $5,000, cash. It is all I could get without raising flags. And Mason? Yeah? Don't die. The motel room smelled like stale cigarettes and regret. I sat on the bed staring at the envelope of cash. $5,000. Yesterday, that was what I spent on a suit. Today, it is my entire net worth. I walked to the mirror. The man staring back at me looked like a stranger. Wet hair, wild eyes, a $3,000 suit ruined by rain and sweat. I took off the jacket and threw it in the trash. Mason Sterling, the COO, was dead. I needed to become someone else, someone invisible. I went to the bathroom sink. I found a pair of rusty scissors in the drawer, and I looked at my reflection one last time. Then I started cutting. Chunks of perfectly styled hair fell into the sink. It was uneven. It was ugly. It was perfect. I went to a thrift store down the street. I bought a hoodie, a pair of jeans, and a baseball cap. Total cost, $22. When I walked out, nobody looked at me. I was just another face in the crowd. Another nobody in Queens, but a nobody with a brain worth $4 billion. I sat on a park bench, eating a cold sandwich, and I started to think. Elias had the power. He had the money. He had the police. But he had a weakness. Elias was lazy. He didn't build the system, he just stole it. He didn't know how the engine worked. And I knew exactly where the engine leaked oil. Have you ever had to start over? I don't mean getting a new job. I mean looking in the mirror and realizing you have absolutely nothing left but your own two hands and your brain. It is terrifying. But let me tell you a secret. Hunger is the best motivation in the world. If you want to see how a man with nothing takes down an empire with everything, make sure you are subscribed. You are not going to want to miss the next move. I needed information, but I couldn't log into the company servers. They would trace my IP in seconds. I needed a backdoor. A physical backdoor. There was a server farm in New Jersey, Site B. It was an old facility, mostly used for cold storage of data. I used to inspect it once a year. I knew the security protocols because I wrote them. I took a bus to Jersey. It was midnight when I arrived. The facility was surrounded by a chain-link fence topped with razor wire. But I knew about the drainage pipe in the north corner. It was tight, smelling of rot and sewage, but it led straight to the maintenance yard. I crawled through the mud. My designer shoes, the only thing I had kept, were ruined. Good riddance. I slipped into the building through a ventilation shaft. Inside, the hum of the servers was deafening. It was the sound of money. I found a terminal in the back row. I didn't need to log in as a user. I needed to access the maintenance logs. I plugged in a USB drive I had bought at a convenience store. I started typing. Root access, system override, bypass firewall. My fingers flew across the keyboard. This was the language I spoke better than English. Code, logic, truth. I wasn't looking for the fake embezzlement files. I was looking for what Elias was actually doing. You don't frame your brother for $12 million unless you are hiding something worth $100 million. And there it was, hidden in the shipping manifests for the Global Aid Project. Sterling Dynamics wasn't just shipping food and medicine to conflict zones. They were shipping dual-use technology, advanced drone parts, guidance chips, illegal exports. Elias wasn't just stealing money, he was an international arms dealer. Oh my God, I whispered. If this got out, the company wouldn't just go bankrupt. Victor and Elias would go to federal prison for treason. I hit download. 90%? 95%? Suddenly, the room turned red. System breach detected. Beep, beep, beep. I hadn't triggered it. Elias had installed a silent alarm on specific keywords. He knew, I realized. He knew I would look here. I yanked the USB drive out. I heard footsteps, heavy boots, not security guards, mercenaries. I ran. I sprinted down the aisle of servers, the red lights flashing like a nightmare disco. There he is, a voice shouted, rough, Russian accent. A bullet pinged off the server rack next to my head. Sparks flew. This wasn't an arrest. This was a hit. I turned the corner and slid under a heavy metal desk just as bullets shredded the drywall above me. I needed a weapon. I had a USB drive and a pocket knife I bought at the gas station. Not exactly John Wick. I saw the fire suppression system control panel on the wall. Halon gas. It sucks the oxygen out of the room to stop fires. It also knocks people out if they don't have masks. It was 40 feet away, across open ground. I took a deep breath. Hey, I shouted. throwing a heavy manual book in the opposite direction. The mercenaries turned and fired at the noise. I bolted. I tackled the control panel, smashing the glass with my elbow. I slammed the big red button. Whoosh! A massive hiss filled the room as the gas deployed. Masks! Masks! The leader shouted. I didn't have a mask. I held my breath. I had maybe 60 seconds before I passed out. I scrambled towards the emergency exit. My lungs were burning. My vision was blurring. I kicked the door open and fell out into the cool night air. I gasped, sucking in oxygen like a drowning man. I didn't stop. I ran into the woods. I could hear them coughing and cursing behind me. They wouldn't pursue me into the forest at night without thermal gear. I ran until my legs gave out. I collapsed under an old oak tree, clutching the USB drive in my hand. I was covered in mud. I was bleeding from a cut on my forehead. But I started laughing, a manic, crazy laugh. I had the smoking gun. I pulled out the burner phone to call Elena. But as I looked at the screen, a text message popped up. It wasn't from Elena. It was from an unknown number. I opened it. It was a picture of me, sleeping in the motel room this morning, taken from the window. And then a text. Nice haircut, brother, but you took the wrong drive. Check your pocket. My heart stopped. I reached into my pocket. The USB drive was there. I plugged it into my phone using an adapter. Empty. 0 bytes. It was a honeypot. A decoy server. I looked at the text again. A new message appeared. I didn't send mercenaries to kill you, Mason. I sent them to flush you out. Now I know where you are. And by the way, say goodbye to Elena. A second photo loaded. It was Elena's car, or what was left of it, engulfed in flames at the bottom of a ravine. I dropped the phone in the mud. I was alone. I had no evidence. My only ally was dead, and the hunters were closing in. They say when you lose everything, you are free to do anything. That is a lie. When you lose everything, you are free to die. And right now, dying seems like the easiest option. I am standing at the edge of the ravine, looking down at the burning wreckage of Elena's sedan. The fire is dying out, hissing against the rain. There is no body. The police haven't arrived yet, but I know she is gone. Or worse, taken. Elias isn't just a spoiled brat anymore. He is a predator, and he just showed me his teeth. I look at my hands. They are shaking, not from cold, but from rage. Pure, unadulterated rage. I have no phone, no money, no evidence. The USB drive is useless. But I have one thing Elias forgot about: memory. I built the Sterling Logistics Network. I know every route, every warehouse, and every ghost partner we ever worked with, including the ones Victor Sterling tried to destroy. There is one name that terrified my father, a man who used to run the docks before Sterling Dynamics pushed him out with lawsuits and bribed zoning officials. Darius Thorne. They call him the Ironmonger. He runs the salvage yards in Newark now, a graveyard for dead machines. If anyone hates the Sterling family enough to help a fugitive with a death warrant on his head, it is him. I turn away from the burning car. I start walking north. I am walking into the lion's den, and I am bringing a stake. It took me 4 hours to walk to Newark. I look like a swamp creature, mud caked on my face, hoodie torn. The salvage yard is a fortress of rusted metal. Towers of crushed cars stack up like dystopian skyscrapers. I walk up to the main gate. 2 guys the size of refrigerators are standing there. They aren't security guards, they are bouncers for hell. Lost kid? One of them grunts. He has a tattoo of a spider on his neck. I need to see Darius, I say. My voice is raspy. The man laughs. It sounds like gravel in a blender. Darius doesn't see junkies. Beat it before I feed you to the compactor. Tell him. I pause, taking a deep breath. Tell him Mason Sterling is here, and I know how to get his dock back. The laughter stops. The spider tattoo guy looks at his partner. He pulls out a radio. Boss, you're not going to believe what the cat dragged in. 2 minutes later, the gates open. They lead me through a maze of rusted steel to a warehouse in the center. Inside, it is surprisingly clean, high-tech surveillance screens covering the walls. And in the middle, I'm sitting on a leather chair polishing a pristine 1967 Mustang, is Darius Thorne. He is older than I remember from the news. Gray beard, scars on his knuckles. But his eyes, sharp as razor blades. He doesn't look up. Give me one reason why I shouldn't put a bullet in your head right now, Sterling, he says softly. Because I'm not a Sterling anymore, I reply, standing my ground. Darius stands up. He walks over to me, holding a wrench. He circles me like a shark. I heard the news, he says. Embezzlement, fired, disgraced, and now A fugitive. Your daddy really did a number on you. It wasn't my father. It was Elias. Darius spits on the floor. Does it matter? Same blood, same poison. I'm adopted, I shoot back. You still wear their name, Darius shouts, swinging the wrench. It stops an inch from my nose. And I don't flinch. Darius smiles. You got guts, or you are stupid. Probably both. I need a ghost server, Darius, and I need protection. In exchange, I give you the shipping codes for the black sector. Darius drops the wrench. The clang echoes in the silence. The black sector? He whispers. I thought that was a myth. It is real, I say. Elias is using it to ship illegal guidance chips. If we expose it, Sterling Dynamics falls. And when it falls, the docks are yours again. I just bet my life on a man who wants to kill me. Smart move? Probably not. But when you are fighting a war, you don't look for friends. You look for weapons. We are about to launch a counterattack that will shake the entire city. If you are ready to see the underdog bite back, smash that like button. And comment Team Mason below. If you think Darius is going to betray me, because honestly, even I am 50-50 on that. Darius stares at me for a long minute. Then he walks over to a mini fridge and pulls out 2 beers. He tosses one to me. You look like hell, kid, he says. I feel like hell, I admit, cracking the can open. The cold liquid feels like salvation. Okay, Darius sits on the hood of the Mustang. I'm in, but not for the docks. I'm in because I want to see Victor Sterling cry. I want to see his legacy crumble. We need to hack the mainframe, I explain, but my access is revoked, and the decoy server wiped my drive. You don't need a drive if you have the physical key, Darius says. He points to a map on the wall. The Sterling private jet. It lands in Teterboro tonight at 10 p.m. Elias is on it. He carries the master encryption key on a biometric drive around his neck. He never takes it off. My eyes widen. You want me to rob Elias on the tarmac? That is suicide. He has a private army. Not you. Darius grins. Us. He hits a button on his desk. The back wall of the warehouse slides open. Behind it isn't junk. It is an arsenal. Military-grade gear, vehicles, EMP jammers. I have been preparing for a war with your father for 10 years, Darius says. I was just waiting for a general. I look at the weapons, then I look at Darius. We are not just going to rob him, I say, a plan forming in my mind. We are going to kidnap him. Darius laughs, a loud, booming sound. Now you are talking like a criminal. I like it. 9:45 p.m. Teterboro Airport. We are hiding in a service van near the hangar. Rain is lashing against the windshield. I'm wearing a tactical vest now. It feels heavy, strange. Plane is taxiing, Darius whispers over the comms. I see the sleek Gulfstream jet with the Sterling logo on the tail. It represents everything I built, everything I lost. The stairs lower. 2 SUVs pull up. Guards with umbrellas hop out. Then Elias steps out. He looks pristine, holding a glass of champagne, laughing at something a guard said. Seeing him, happy, while I was digging mud out of my ears, it snaps something inside me. Wait for the signal, Darius warns me. I know, I whisper. Elias walks towards the lead SUV. Suddenly, Darius hits the EMP jammer. Zap. The runway lights die. The SUV headlights cut out. The airport goes pitch black. Go, go, go! We burst out of the van. Darius's men fire smoke grenades. The tarmac fills with gray fog. I sprint towards Elias, panic, screams. Ambush! Protect the VIP! I don't care about the guards. Darius's crew is handling them. I see Elias stumbling in the smoke, dropping his champagne glass. I tackle him. We hit the wet concrete hard. Get off me! He screams like a child. I flip him over and pin him down. I grab his collar. Hello, brother, I whisper. Elias freezes, his eyes adjust to the dark. He sees my face. Mason, he gasps. You're supposed to be dead. Disappointed? I ask. I reach for the chain around his neck, the biometric drive. I yank it off. Security! Elias screams. A guard looms out of the smoke, gun raised at me. Bang! The guard falls. Darius stands behind him, smoking gun in hand. We got it! Darius shouts. Move! I stand up, holding the drive. I look down at Elias, shivering in the rain. This isn't over, Elias, I say. Run home to Daddy. Tell him winter is coming. We retreat into the smoke. We are back in the van, speeding down the highway. I am running on adrenaline. My hands are shaking, but this time it is excitement. I hold the drive up to the light. This is it, the end of Sterling Dynamics. Plug it in, Darius says, handing me a rugged laptop. I connect the drive. I place my thumb on the scanner. It won't work. It needs Elias's print. But I know a bypass. I wrote the code for this drive 3 years ago. I type in the backdoor sequence. Access granted. Files begin to scroll. Bank accounts, illegal shipments, bribes to senators. We got them, I laugh. We got them all. Then a video file pops up, labeled insurance. What is that? Darius asks. I don't know. I click play. The video opens. It is grainy footage. It is a hospital room. 25 years ago, Victor Sterling is standing over a bed. A woman is dying. My biological mother. I lean in closer. Take him, my mother whispers. Promise me. Promise me you won't tell him. I promise, Victor says. He will never know he is my son. The video ends. The van goes silent. I stare at a black screen. Victor isn't my adoptive father. He is my biological father. And Elias? Elias isn't just my brother by law. He is my half-brother by blood, my entire life. The adoption story, the charity. It was all a lie to hide an affair. And then my phone, the burner phone, rings. It is Victor. I answer. I see you have the drive. Victor's voice is calm. Too calm. You lied, I whisper. You are my father. I am, Victor says. And that is why I can't let you publish those files, Mason. Or what? I challenge him. You will kill me? No, Victor says. But I will kill the only person you have left. A sound on the line. A muffled scream. Mom? I whisper. My adoptive mother. The woman who raised me, who I thought was safe in a retirement home in Florida. She is right here, Mason, Victor says. Bring me the drive. Alone. Or you lose the only mother you ever knew. This is the house where I learned to ride a bike. This is the house where I learned to tie a tie. And this is the house where I learned that love is just a transaction. The Sterling estate looms ahead in the darkness, lit up like a castle. Iron gates, security cameras, a fortress built on lies. I am sitting in the passenger seat of a nondescript van. Darius is driving. You know this is a trap, right? Darius says, checking his pistol one last time. Of course it is, I reply, adjusting the collar of my hoodie. Victor doesn't negotiate. He eliminates. The upload is set? Darius asks. Set, I confirm. If I don't input the kill code every 5 minutes, the entire contents of that drive go to the FBI, the SEC, and the New York Times. Darius grins. Dead man's switch. I taught you well. I look at the digital clock on the dashboard. 11 p.m. Give me 10 minutes, I say. If I don't walk out with my mother, burn it down. With pleasure, Darius whispers. I step out of the van. The rain has stopped, leaving a heavy, suffocating mist. I walk up the long driveway. No guards stop me. They are expecting me. I push open the massive oak doors. The foyer is empty. Silence. In the library, Mason, Victor's voice echoes from down the hall. I walk towards the library, the room where Victor used to teach me chess. I enter. Victor is sitting in his leather armchair, holding a glass of scotch. Elias is standing by the fireplace, looking nervous. He holds a silenced pistol, and in the corner, tied to a chair, is Martha, my adoptive mother. She is crying, tape over her mouth. Seeing her like that, it takes every ounce of my willpower not to rush Elias and tear his throat out. But I have to be cold. I have to be a Sterling one last time. Let her go, I say, my voice steady. The drive first, Victor replies. He doesn't even stand up. He looks tired. You lied to me for 32 years, I say, stepping closer. Why? If I am your biological son, why treat me like an employee? Why let Elias torment me? Victor takes a sip of scotch. Because you were a mistake, Mason. An affair with a secretary, a weakness. I adopted you to hide the scandal, not to love you. He looks at me with cold, calculating eyes. But then, you turned out to be useful, smart, ruthless. Unlike him, he gestures to Elias with disgust. So, I used you to build the fortune, and I kept Elias to inherit it. That is the natural order. The bastard builds the castle. The prince lives in it. The cruelty of it is breathtaking. I wasn't a son. Why, I was livestock. The drive, Victor repeats. Or Elias puts a bullet in Martha. She isn't blood anyway. She is just the woman who raised a mistake. Elias raises the gun, his hand shaking. Give it to me, Mason. I swear I will shoot. I reach into my pocket. I pull out the biometric drive. Here, I say, tossing it onto the table. Elias scrambles for it like a dog. He plugs it into Victor's laptop. It is encrypted, Elias shouts. We need the password. Let her go first, I demand. Victor nods to Elias. Elias cuts the ropes on Martha's hands. She runs to me, sobbing. Mason! Oh God, Mason, run! Go to the front door, Mom, I whisper, pushing her towards the exit. Don't look back. I'm not leaving you. Go! I shout. She runs. I wait until I hear the front door slam. Now, it is just us. The password, Mason, Victor warns. My security team is outside. You aren't leaving this room alive if you don't speak. I look at Victor, and I smile. You taught me to play chess, remember, Victor? What are you talking about? You taught me that the most dangerous piece on the board isn't the king. It is the pawn that becomes a queen. I pull out my phone. I show them the screen. Upload complete. I didn't bring you the encryption key, I say softly. I brought you a distraction. What? Elias yells. The dead man's switch wasn't set for 5 minutes, I explain. It was set for the moment my phone connected to your Wi-Fi. The files are already gone. The FBI received them 30 seconds ago. Victor stands up, dropping his glass. It shatters. You destroyed us, he whispers. You destroyed your own inheritance. I don't want your money, Victor, I say. I want your name. I want to watch it burn. Revenge is a dish best served publicly. Right now, as I stand in this room, stock tickers around the world are about to flatline. Sterling Dynamics is finished. If you have been with me since the first rainy night when I was fired, thank you. We made it to the finish line. But don't go anywhere, because the best part is watching the bad guys realize there is no way out. No, Elias whispers. He checks his phone. Dad, it is on Twitter, it is on CNN. They have the emails. They have the video of the illegal shipments. Victor collapses into his chair. He looks suddenly old, frail. You ungrateful, he chokes out. Ungrateful? I laugh. I gave you 25 years of my life. You gave me a cardboard box. Red and blue lights flash through the library windows. Police! Federal agents, come out with your hands up! A voice booms from a megaphone outside. Elias panics. He runs to the secret passage behind the bookcase. I'm not going to jail, he screams. He opens the passage door and freezes. Darius is standing there, arms crossed, 2 massive bodyguards behind him. Going somewhere, Prince Charming? Darius asks. Darius punches Elias, 1 clean strike. Elias drops to the floor, unconscious. Victor looks at me. Mason, he pleads, his voice trembling. Mason, tell them I was forced. Tell them Elias did it. I can help you. I can make you CEO. I look down at the man who created me, the man who destroyed me. Save it for the jury, Victor, I say. I turn my back on him and walk out of the library. FBI agents swarm past me, guns drawn. Freeze, one agent shouts at me. I am the whistleblower, I yell. Raising my hands, my name is Mason Sterling. I am the one who called you. As they handcuff me, standard procedure, I look back. I see Victor being dragged out in cuffs. He looks at me one last time. There is no anger in his eyes anymore, just fear. And that is worth more than $4 billion. It took 3 months of hearings, but I was cleared. The Whistleblower Protection Act is a beautiful thing. Victor got 20 years. At his age, that is a life sentence. Elias turned state's witness to reduce his sentence, but he still got 10 years for arms trafficking. Sterling Dynamics was liquidated. The assets were sold off. And the buyer? Well, that is the funny part. I am standing in a warehouse in Newark, but it isn't a scrapyard anymore. It is the headquarters of Phoenix Logistics. Darius is walking towards me, wearing a suit. He looks uncomfortable. I hate these ties, he grumbles. You are the head of security, Darius, I laugh. Look the part. Yeah. He points to the office. Your mom is waiting for lunch. Martha is there, setting out sandwiches on my desk. She looks happy. Younger. I walk into my office. On the wall, there is no picture of Victor, just a framed photo of me, Martha, and Darius, taken on the day I opened this place. I sit in my chair. I don't have $4 billion. I don't have a legacy name. But I have a company built on loyalty. I have a family chosen by love, not blood. And for the first time in 32 years, I am free. My name is Mason. I used to be a corporate prince. Then I was a fugitive. Now I am just a guy who knows the value of a second chance. If you are watching this and you feel like the world is against you, Remember, rock bottom isn't a grave, it is a foundation. Build something new and never, ever let them see you bleed. Mason out.